strong meaning and belief that when it was time to work, you worked and only worked. However, when it was time for leisure, you did absolutely nothing strenuous or laborious, showing that even thousands of years ago, at least in Rome, having a work-life balance was not only a recognized benefit to society, but something that was strongly believed in. On top of the Romans' work-life balance, they also increased their entertainment over time as well, with one of the most notable examples of that being the opening of the Colosseum in 80 AD, where at the Colosseum, they would typically hold 100 live events per year, almost one every 3 days. Meaning that if you lived in Rome during this time, multiple times per week you could go to watch a live event and be treated to live entertainment for hours. And while at this point theater and live entertainment is nothing new, I figured it'd be quickly worth mentioning the documented history of the work-life balance, as well as the development of live events, at least in the Mediterranean. The medieval era. During the medieval era, civilization and society is really starting to resemble the one we know today, although with a few unique differences. And while there are countless interesting hobbies and pastimes that people would have done for fun during the medieval era, there are two that are very specific to the medieval era I'd like to quickly discuss. For starters, when you think of the medieval era, it's almost impossible to not think of medieval knights. And what are medieval knights possibly most known for? Well, of course, jousting. And similar to the gladiatorial games that they had in Rome, or the Olympic Games they had in Greece, jousting in medieval Europe was an extremely popular and culturally significant live sporting event that would not only make legends, but also take lives. Jousting, for those of you who were literally born yesterday, is essentially two knights on horseback charging at each other with large wooden spears, or lances as they're called. The entire point of this game or sport was to unhorse your opponent, or essentially knock them off of their horse. And this entire activity was a test of skill, strength, and courage to ultimately prove your worthiness and your knightly honor. Jousting, for those who participated, I'm sure it was a blast, at least for those who were good at it. Although, since there was more people that were spectating than actually participating, I'm going to speak about it from a spectator's perspective. Jousting tournaments, wherever they were held, always drew a major crowd, and they were typically held at royal occasions, at the site of military victories, or even at religious festivals. And even though during medieval Europe, the economic divide in society was jarring, jousting was one sport that could bring all classes of society together, because literally everybody from the bottom of the economic food chain to the top enjoyed this sport deeply. Even after gunpowder was introduced into warfare, making blade combat less and less effective, jousting still remained popular as a symbolic event, still of honor and of medieval history. Personally, I'm not sure if I would have had more fun watching medieval jousting over the Greek Olympic Games or even a Greek drinking competition. However, I'm sure the medieval jousting events would have had their own unique flair that I would have enjoyed if I was there in the time. But I do think this is one of the first examples where the pastime I chose in a future section is actually less entertaining than